Hey, folks, good morning. Welcome to the episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Tuesday, December 9th. The Pittsburgh Steelers are off today. Head coach Mike Tomlin speaking on the south side. The first availability, Week 15, as the Steelers get ready to host the surprisingly hot Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Miami coming into Pittsburgh, winners of 5 games in a row. Should be an entertaining game on Monday night. An explosive Miami offense awaiting the Steelers in that one. I'm going to talk about Mike Tomlin and something that I think he is good at that probably doesn't get talked about enough, that also sort of explains why things have been the way they are for the Steelers. I'm often asked about Mike Tomlin's scheme, his schematics. And I think it's funny because, especially on offense, I don't think he has any. I don't think he has any hardly held offensive beliefs. I'm not in every room, but I would venture to say that Mike Tomlin has less to do with his offense than almost every other NFL head coach. And one of the reasons he has almost always hired experienced offensive coordinators is that he wants to let Arthur Smith run that like it's his own team within a team, right? He kind of does his own thing. On defense, what is a Mike Tomlin defensive scheme? It's certainly not the one the Steelers run. That's the one he inherited from Dick LeBeau. Now, it has his fingerprints all over it. But defensive schemes are kind of a dime a dozen. There's only 4 or 5 different ways to do it. What Tomlin has run, the LeBeau scheme, is very similar to a Belichick or a Saban defense, or, they have minute differences, but in terms of major structure and identity, they're the same as maybe a third of the defenses out there. Where I think Mike Tomlin is good is in 2 things. One, I think Mike Tomlin has generally gotten the best out of his players. What we're seeing happen this year with George Pickens is a significant aberration. Almost every other player that the Steelers wanted to keep, or that the Steelers did not want to keep, that they let go. Now, there's some guys, like cap purposes, whatever, like they couldn't keep Manny Sanders and they couldn't keep James Conner, whatever, Juju. But the players in the Steelers are like, nah, we're good, we're done with them. They almost never do anything for anybody else. Look at Lev Bell, look at Antonio Brown. Those are the 2 most obvious examples, but there's plenty of others. Most of the time, when the Steelers let a player go, he's pretty much done. And that tells me that the Steelers do a good job of getting the most out of their players under Mike Tomlin. And I think the second thing that you can say Mike Tomlin is good at is he is an extremely good motivator. He knows how to push the right buttons with his team. He builds relationships with people. He understands how they work. And then because he has those relationships with people, he's able to motivate them. It's one of the reasons that I think a lot of people outside of football have a lot of admiration for the way that Mike Tomlin works. A lot of people I've seen associated with the team, guys who are like minority owners, who are big businessmen, watch Mike Tomlin work and are marveled because of his ability to have a CEO position, but the capacity to have an individual relationship with every guy on the roster and be individually finding ways to get the most out of them and the collective. I think you see this come up often when the Steelers circle the wagons. Chris Berman famously says nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. I might have to disagree. I think Mike Tomlin circles the wagons better than anybody. Every time in his coaching tenure, this team looks like it has been down and out. It looks like the fan base is checked out. It looks like there's no reason for this team to have any hope, any belief. He finds a way to instill that, and they earn a win. That is how you get 0 losing seasons. It is not a fluke. There is a real, even if it's not tangible, impact in his ability to motivate the unit and the individual. And I think that also comes back to something that I saw Stephen A. Smith say yesterday that I think is very prescient. No one needs motivation in the playoffs. Over the course of a 17-week regular season, there are emotional highs and lows. It is a roller coaster. A really good coach can pick his team up when they're feeling down and avoid a slide, avoid, as Andy Van Slyke once famously said, the Grand Canyon. But when you get to the playoffs, motivation doesn't matter that much anymore. Everyone is highly motivated at that point in the year. What you need at that point is talent and X's and O's. I don't think Tomlin's X's and O's are bad. They're pretty standard, but they're certainly not elite. And when he hasn't had elite talent, it hasn't gone very well. And in fact, even when he did have elite talent, he had the misfortune of spending about 5 playoff games in a row without most of them available to them. As far as I'm aware, Ben, Lev Bell, and Antonio Brown only ever lost one playoff game they played together, and that was the game the defense melted down after Ryan Shazier's injury. And so I just think it was an insightful thing that Stephen A. said. It's something that obviously I've talked about for a long time, in that Mike Tomlin helped rescue this season by getting the team a win in Baltimore. And I don't know what buttons he pushed this week, if it was, we've seen it over the years, different ones, right? The all black shoes for the Cincinnati opener, whatever it is. He has his ways, and I haven't gotten anybody to reveal them for this week. But he found a way to get his team, when it looked like everyone had given up on them, up for a very difficult road divisional game. And they won it, and they put themselves in the driver's seat for the AFC North. But that shouldn't make you feel good about the playoffs. Now, what should make you feel good about the playoffs is it doesn't look like they're going to face overwhelming talent on the other side. Remember what I said, in the playoffs, it's mostly talent and X's and O's. And honestly, it's mostly talent. But when you look around the AFC, the Colts are imploding. They've already beaten the Patriots once. Are you really that afraid of the Broncos or the Chargers? I'm not. I think they are in position to have a pretty good look at a playoff win. But in that scenario, Mike Tomlin's probably his greatest strength as a coach will not matter to them. And I do think that is a reason why at times over the course of his career, the playoff success has not matched the regular season success. All right, I just want to get that thought that's been bouncing around my head out here, and I thought it was a really good point by Stephen A. Smith. And we will see if the Steelers are able to capitalize on this huge advantage they have earned themselves in the AFC North. The Ravens facing the Bengals, the Steelers hosting the Dolphins. If they can get a win, they will really be looking good after this week. All right, more from Tomlin, hoping for some substantial injury updates. Me and Smitty, 6 p.m. here on the YouTube channel, in your audio feeds on the afternoon drive. Until then, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.